Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. As always, we like to start off with an adult beverage of choice. Lance, what are you drinking tonight?
Today, I will be drinking some Jipsi Explorer. What is this, Kentucky whiskey?
Yeah, it's bourbon.
Yeah, most of our stuff is Kentucky whiskey. And then I'll also be chasing that back with a Leinenkugel's Barrelman Ale. Something local enough, at least Wisconsin made. Mm-hmm. I like ales. I know when we cracked this beer upstairs, you didn't like this one.
No, not for me. But I'm still chugging it back.
Yep, we don't waste alcohol here.
Correct.
What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking the same thing. I found the Leinenkugels at Festival, and I was like, that seems kind of interesting. I haven't had this before. Not a fan, but that's okay. We don't have to like everything.
No. So, Matt, what are we going to be covering today?
Yes, we are going to be covering Season 3 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. And for anybody that is concerned / worried about what happens in Season 3 because they got ruined by the internet, well, the internet, in this case, pretty much doesn't lie. It is what you have been told it is. So, if you want to skip out on watching Season 3, just listen to us, because I say we do a pretty thorough job of covering seasons.
Yeah, and at least we'll talk about the parts that we liked, and if we don't talk about something, it's probably because it really didn't mean too much.
Correct. And I've also been paying attention to the light novel, so it's definitely got some interesting bits on that one. But as far as the synopsis is concerned, it is what you think it is. Meetings, action, meetings, a party, and then some more meetings. Mm-hmm. And that's Season 3.
Yeah, no need to get into specifics because we already know what Slime's all about.
Yep.
And you've probably already heard, if you haven't already watched, that it's a long season.
Yes. I personally enjoyed it, and we'll get into it when we start breaking down the season.
Right.
I am wondering, what'd you come up with today for Lance's lessons?
Today's Lance's Lessons is going to be the Japanese word for festival. And festival is matsuri. Matsuri is spelled Matsuri. Matsuri is very relevant to today's episode because Rimuru just wants to throw a big festival to show off that he's a demon lord. Really, it's because everyone wants to meet him. So he's trying to make everything all in one big, great package, all for the great land of Tempest. So, festival, yeah, quite the party.
Yes, give everybody an excuse to come see him beyond just, hey, you are now in charge of us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like it.
And we can definitely talk about this festival as we continue our talks. But before we do that, Matt likes to read the manga for every episode that we cover. So was there any differences between the manga and the anime? NANI?
Kind of. I will be frank. Read the light novel. The light novel's fantastic once you get into Season 2. Season 1 has a lot of good information, but it drags. There's a lot of information that gets passed along in Season 1 and Season 2. Season 3 is almost verbatim what we witnessed. So still pay attention to the light novel, but for anybody that's curious, the Season 3 light novels are going to be volumes 7 through 9, and the manga is going to be chapters 86 through 118. As of the beginning of May, there's currently 129 chapters out that you can read. So you get a little bit into what Season 4 would be.
Oh, so they're not even current with light novel stuff.
No, not even close.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the light novel is supposedly ending this year. We'll have to wait a little while until we get it translated, but supposedly it is ending soon. And it's turning into a doozy. I'm looking forward to it. I am currently on volume 13. So instead of trying to go back into Season 3 volumes, I'm just continuing and read the manga. One thing that changes is in chapter 86, it ends with Rimuru coming back from Walpurgis, and 87 starts with Diablo talking about what happened at Farmus. So basically it skips that whole carriage ride and the blobs and all this, and the three of them committing themselves to Diablo, all that fun stuff. The whole premise is there. It just skips that information.
Okay.
One thing that I thought was really interesting is they talk about how there's only 10,000 stellar coins to come into existence in total. So I think it was 1,000 stellar coins that they...
Right. They have such intense value, and they're super rare and they're super expensive, and because of that, they're super hard to use.
Yeah, they're basically they're basically worthless because they're so valuable.
Right.
Because the only thing you can trade them for are more stellar coins.
Right.
And they talk about how it takes about 1 month to mint, which is one of the reasons why they are so valuable and not in real circulation, because they take forever.
Okay, interesting.
The mystery person that Luminous is kind of rubbing up on, you remember?
Yeah, in that tube of like ice that's melting her as she
yes,
rubs against it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the manga, it's actually a coffin. It's an ice coffin.
Okay, so it's not see-through, it's not transparent?
No.
Okay, very interesting.
I will say we will find out about that in next season. Just a little tidbit.
Definitely a topic of conversation.
Yes, we can talk about that. Hinata transforms when she pulls out her specific sword. She gets like this fairy wings and some other stuff. Wait, did she have that in the anime?
Yeah,
okay.
She powered up into it.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. That just apparently drawing a blank. And then the only real other thing is that we kind of see what Soe does to the woman, the Holy Knight, that starts getting all like hot and bothered when they come out of the woods with Soe. It's like a brief moment. Basically, she's like all flushed as they're coming out of the forest. After.
Is this still during the battle with Hinata?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm running a blank on what's so. Okay. What?
Yeah. He's of course.
Well, I know who Soe is.
Yeah.
But like, I'm running a blank on who Soe fought, and I don't remember any information coming out of his fight.
Basically, because it wasn't.
Okay.
Basically, he goes into the woods and then it like comes out, and then there's the woman Holy Knight, and she's like all red faced and blushing and stuff. Basically, he tied her up to a tree, like bondage style, tied her up to a tree.
Okay.
That's all we see. Like, that's the only bit of information we see. But he basically...
Oh, but she liked it.
But she liked getting bondaged up against a tree.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so it was...
Really straightforward. Yeah.
Okay. From your memories from reading the light novel?
Nothing, just extra information.
Okay.
That's going to be good for stacking the rest of the seasons and the rest of the information. But as far as like nitpicky stuff, no, there's no real changes.
Okay. When you were originally listening to season 3 material in the light novels, was it putting you to sleep? Was it just god awful boring?
No, it was what it is. I mean, when you're reading something, it's not as bad as like when you're watching the meetings is less entertaining than it would be to listen to the meeting, because all you're really doing is listening to the conversations,
right? Or
you're reading the conversations. However, you're going through the light novel, so it's not as bad because a conversation's a conversation, whether you read it or see it. It's just a lot more boring when you see it instead of being able to read it.
There's not a whole lot going on.
Correct.
Yeah, this one was a very easy listen to, because if any of our listeners know me, I re-listen to these anime multiple times before we talk about this.
Yep.
And I've watched this in Japanese almost completely when it first released.
Yep.
I went back and I realized that I think I stopped watching this in Japanese just before the little tournament arc at the end. So I almost made it through the entire third season.
Okay.
But I've given this another full listen just on free time, like almost a complete 3 more times.
Yep.
And it's totally okay because there's nothing to watch. There's almost nothing to watch. It's all story building.
Correct. It is 100% story building. I will say it very much builds into what happens in the future. Mm-hmm. So that's why this season's very important, because without this season, the meaning of the things that happen after aren't as significant. And it'll make sense when you see it.
Okay.
Because obviously I don't want to give anything away, but it will all make a lot more sense after the fact, which is unfortunate, but it's not as bad. I will say season 3 was much better when you got to binge watch the entire season.
Oh, for sure. When this was coming out week by week, it was such a drag.
It was rough because it would be like meeting. All right, and half this episode is also a meeting. And now you get some action. And then half the next episode is action. And then there's some more meeting. And you're like, fuck, just get me through the season. Mm-hmm. But when you can watch, 3, 4, 5 episodes at a time, it's like a little bit of a breakup. You get some information. All right, you get some action. You get some more information. And then there's a lot of a roller coaster of a story versus just fuck.
Yep. Seasons like this is what truly makes me super goddamn annoyed at Crunchyroll for not giving us a 1.5 or a 2 times speed fast forward. Because nothing super, like, obviously it's important, but we can speed this up a little bit.
Yes.
Crunchyroll, if you're listening, fucking put it in. Every other platform. Hulu might have it, but I know High Dive has a fast forward button. They have a 1.5 and times 2 option because I already started rewatching what we're going to be covering next in 1.5.
Oh. Okay, interesting.
I like saving time.
That's completely fair. I would never use it.
No.
I feel like a majority of people. You're probably on an island on that one.
I might be. But like I also said, I re-listened to this 2.5 extra times.
Yep.
So if I can get through an entire season of like 24-ish episodes a little bit quicker on a rewatch, on a re-listen, of course I would.
Yes. Yeah, I understand that.
On a first watch, I would never watch
a
first watch in anything faster than normal pace.
Especially if you were trying to watch it in Japanese and it was like,
oh, screw
one
that.
and a half times. You're like, I can't even read.
Yeah, half the time it's already hard enough to keep on track with what they're saying and reading and watching, multitasking like that.
Yep.
Like watching Windbreaker, sometimes they talk super fast. I can't keep up. My eyes want to watch the action, but I also have to read what they're saying.
Yeah, you got to pause it, rewind, pause the conversation, and then continue.
They talk fast. Fire Force talks fast. Holy crap. I'm half the time I can't even keep up with. I guess it really comes down to is there the moments that have intense, beautiful action, and then they're talking in the background, and you're like, fuck, I got to read and...
Or there's 2 conversations that are happening at the same time. Oh, man, I hate when that happens. I'm like, who do I need to watch? Who's more important?
Yeah,
and
right.
then I watch like half of both of them.
Yeah, and you just kind of get the gist of it and whatever.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah. All right, no more. We don't have to dive too much deeper into that.
Yes. This show, or at least this season, it's the biggest takeaway is the people we run into, essentially, because you could call her like the elf queen.
Oh, the one that bails them out?
Yep. And then you have Hinata finally kind of making amends with Rimuru. You find out about Luminous, which is super important. She's obviously going to play a big factor because, well, he learns holy magic through her. And I thought that was super cool.
Does he officially learn holy?
Yes. So she teaches him about holy magic. Mm-hmm. And the premise is essentially you just have to have people believe in you and you could produce holy magic.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Why that? I mean, she's got a whole cult behind her, so that's why she can use it so well.
Correct. So because she has Luminous, she can use holy magic. That explains everything as far as why she can resurrect Hinata. Mm-hmm. And she can use holy magic while still being a demon. We knew that demons could use holy magic because of Shuna in season 2. Because remember when she is fighting, what is his name? Alderman? Is that his name? The skeleton guy?
Yeah.
So when she is fighting him, she uses holy magic against him.
That's ringing some bells. Yep, I remember that now.
And then Alderman, basically makes Rimuru into a god. So now we know that more people are going to start worshiping Rimuru. Mm-hmm. So the ability to use holy magic is going to be there.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially if he's got this kingdom of monsters.
Yep.
It's only going to make it that much more. He's doing such an excellent job with raising this country.
And really, it's just he's enabling everybody else, and he's creating a utopian society, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got other demon lords following in line behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Malim had 2 demon lords fall behind her. And if you want to put that under an umbrella, Malim's basically following Rimuru too. So he's already got...
Well, they're besties for resties, so it's,
yeah. So he's already got, what, a quarter of the demon lords on his side, just no problem?
Yes, because so he has the previous demon lord Frey.
Mm-hmm.
He has the previous demon lord, the
masked lion guy.
The lion guy. I'll have to figure out what his name actually is. But
actually,
yes.
it's in my... I might have put that in my notes, but continue.
Then Malim, which Malim is one of the original Dragon Lords, so she's obviously going to be super strong. So you got those 3.
Carrion is the master.
Carrion, yep. And then you've got Luminous, or not Luminous, but because that's the
vampire.
Yeah, that is her name's not Luminous though. It's that's essentially the
Lady Luminous.
Oh yeah, I guess it's Luminous Valentine.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in my notes all the time.
Okay, yeah. So then they are in a non-aggression pact against each other. Mm-hmm. So we might as well just call them friends.
Yeah, they signed a 100-year contract.
Yes. And then, you've got 2 of Octogram that are willing to not go against him. You've got Carrion and Frey, who are the previous demon lords.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to the other demon lords, I was thinking of Lubelius. That's the church is Lubelius.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then
did you mention the fairy?
No, I haven't mentioned the fairy. So her name is Ramirez. So there's 3, and then you've got, I think is it Dino? No, not Dino. Who's the
father of the 3 sons?
Is it Dragul? Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
So Dragul has his sons at Tempest, which we'll find out why that came to be later on in season 4.
Oh, there's additional information on top of that?
Yeah, there's the reason they said, and then you find out the real reason behind it.
Okay. For our listeners, the reason that the sons said was that they just needed to get training under Rimuru.
Basically, Dad kicked him out.
Yeah.
And so they went and picked on Rimuru because they thought he was going to be weak since he was a new demon lord.
Yeah. I mean, I liked that Rimuru said that he'll just absorb this favor that he can use in the future.
Correct.
I fucking raised your kids. You owe me one.
Correct.
And this is essentially an easy task for him anyway, so he can hold this over his that other demon lord's head.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. But then as far as the other people who are falling under Rimuru, I mean, all of the ogres are just fucking insane, which we will 100% have to talk about. Shion's...
Shuna?
No, I didn't mean Shion.
Oh.
So Shion's master chef or chef ability, no sense in that one, but whatever.
It makes no sense, but I'm glad you brought this back up because this was a quick little jab, a thing I wanted to talk about. They brought during that one single fight, Shion brought up her cooking 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But we went this entire season without her making anything. And I was actually kind of disappointed about that because seasons 1 and 2 definitely played along with her actual cooking, how disgusting it was. But season 2 brought into light that she got that new ability and all her disgusting ass food tastes amazing. But then season 3 comes and 0.
So remember, while her food tastes good, it didn't look good.
Right.
And you don't want a bunch of dignitaries coming in and seeing this food.
Yeah, that's very true. But because that was kind of the comical part about it,
yes,
they didn't do anything about it. And I just, this feels like a lost jab. Remember that it looks disgusting and it tastes good. It's just that women can't cook kind of trope kind of thing that they're throwing in there.
Yep.
I'm just surprised they didn't do it. That's all I'm getting at.
Because of the people who are there, I'm not surprised.
That's very true. Because everyone's high up.
You have sent essentially the world's leaders at this place.
Mm-hmm. And just throw it in a burrito.
Season.
Everything looks disgusting on the inside, but tastes amazing.
Just put it in a rice ball or something.
That too. He can introduce onigiri.
Yeah, that one. I could see that happening in like season 4.
Maybe.
Just because of the people who are there. I completely understand why they didn't have her terrible cooking. They had Shuna doing all the cooking, which was fantastic. I love the fact that she came back because we did not really get to see her too much in season 2. And I thought she was a fantastic character. I really like her as a character, so I'm glad she came back.
Yeah, I mean, outside of her holy magic kind of deal.
Yeah.
But
she had a vital role in season 3.
For being like the cook and keeping people in line. Yeah,
being the authoritarian figure. And then, we had she played the piano.
Oh, that was such a very super unneeded scene, but it was also kind of like very beautiful. I love, like, every time Alex here, it's really fun to talk about classical music kind of stuff because we always try to make sure that if we're going to do anything like that, he's included. And I'm sure if he watched this, he definitely appreciated this moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I love piano, and I love did Shuna not Shuna? She only played the violin?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to say the wrong instrument.
Which should
have a small blank.
Should have vibes on a different show that we've covered.
Anyway, super beautiful. Love that entire moment.
Absolutely.
I want to say it's not needed, but this whole season was kind of a fluffer for just entertainment. They wanted to show that the festival had a little bit of everything.
Well, so here's the thing. It was super important because that was essentially what brought Luminous to Rimuru's side.
You're right.
Because this was the art that she was talking about.
Exactly. Yep. That's why she's looking forward to outsourcing to Rimuru.
Correct.
Yep.
And bringing them to their city. I'm drawing a blank on what their city's called.
Well, yeah, not only that, but because of that, Luminous gave Rimuru an additional ability.
Correct.
Which is essentially sharing an ability.
It's the holy...
I wrote it down.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so my notes say Luminous grants secret of faith and grace to Rimuru.
Yes.
I guess I didn't write down exactly what it was, but it was essentially the idea that they can borrow powers to another person.
Correct.
Which obviously we haven't seen it in practice, but the idea sounds pretty awesome. Because if that's the case, couldn't someone also use holy powers? If, like, say, Luminous could use holy powers, she can use this ability and someone under her can use the holy power. Or like that divine hand that came down and gave instant death to the seven.
The three
three of the 7 clergy guys.
Yeah.
Like, can we just transfer all these powers, or what's the limit? Anyway, I'm excited to see him use this ability to some degree. What if he goes as far as using his secret abilities, like, not glutton, but Beelzebub. Yeah, like, that doesn't sound right. Is it Beelzebub? Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, the thing that eats other powers and just absorbs it into his stomach.
Yeah.
So could he pass that ability on to another person?
If he wanted them to, yes. So,
interesting.
Fun fact, the voice actor for Shuna is also the voice actor for Yue in Ari Ferretta.
Okay.
Just random fun fact for the day. It would, I think Rimuru is going to pull in abilities, not give them away. So I think he'll use other people's abilities, but not necessarily give them to other people.
I can see that.
Because Rimuru also doesn't believe he is as strong as he is.
That's also very true.
So Rimuru feels like everybody would still succeed without him, and he's basically along for the ride.
Yeah. Great Sage is definitely a big helper for all of that.
Yeah, so, well, it's Raphael at this point.
Oh, sorry, at this point, yeah.
But it's essentially because of Raphael that Rimuru is like, yeah, I'm just kind of here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just was like, oh, well, Raphael's going to take care of everything. And it's like, well, Raphael's only around because you're here. But okay, yeah, that's...
right. They go hand in hand, but it's the same cheat code for Rimuru that it is for, like, the Lightspeed hero.
Mm-hmm. Without
that voice who's giving them guidance, neither of them would be where they are today without it.
Correct. Rimuru, kind of would be... I feel like he would still be mostly Rimuru, while Matsuyuki is just kind of there.
Yeah, he Matsuyuki, he takes his luck and runs with it, and he's just lucky because of it.
Yep.
But Rimuru, I don't know. He's dipped his fingers into a lot of things. Like, for instance, when he's going up against Hinata, she has 10 years of battle experience that she's been honing. Rimuru was getting his ass handed to him until he, like, got a new ability unlocked by Raphael.
Yeah, Raphael basically walked that. Part of it is also... So Rimuru is essentially a cheat code, which I think we've talked about this offline, but I don't think we've ever talked about it when covering season 1 or season 2. Actually, I know we didn't because I did not start reading the light novels until after.
Yeah.
But the importance of Valdora is essentially the importance of why Rimuru is as strong as he is. So Valdora is Magicules. Like, he is the world's Magicules.
Yeah.
And the reason why Rimuru never runs out of Magicules is because if his stock ever goes low, he can pull from Valdora because him and Valdora are linked. So Rimuru essentially has an endless supply of magic.
That does make sense because he did say a couple times that, like, his stamina will never run out.
Correct.
And we all know that in season 1, when he ate Valdora, he just consumed his entire essentially who being. Valdora is.
Correct.
But then that's when we had the conversation in season 2 when he spat him back out and gave him his copy. Like, he still has the residue inside him, but
they are linked.
They're linked.
Yes. So every time Rimuru passes out, technically they talk about how when you run out of Magicules, you die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of dying, Rimuru is just pulling in Magicules, and he pulls in Magicules essentially because Valdora is magic.
Yeah, he is the essence of Magicules. So if that's the case, I wonder if in some future big battle, Rimuru is fighting, say, Guy or something, the leader of the Octagram.
Guy Crimson.
Just say for whatever reason they have a big dispute, and that's one big-ass battle.
Yes.
And Guy Crimson is just destroying Rimuru, but Rimuru has in the back of his head that he's basically ultimate, like, unlimited stamina, but maybe he's unlimited stamina because he's constantly draining Valdora, but then during this battle, Valdora is slowly dying without Rimuru knowing, and then Valdora ultimately dies, and Rimuru is then on his own personal stock of energy, and now it's a fight for real.
So I might be wrong about this, but Valdora can't die because Valdora is the essence of the world, which is why they can never kill Valdora. That's why they had to seal him, because he can't die. He is essentially a spiritual being that no matter, even if his body is destroyed, he will just come back.
Okay, he's just going to Deadpool himself back into existence.
He is a spiritual being, and
as long as magic exists, he exists.
Correct.
Okay.
Again, I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what Valdora's premise is.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure most of us can play along with that. It makes perfect anime sense.
Yes, I would agree with that one. That is in part the reason why Rimuru is so strong, is because Valdora is strong, which in turn makes Rimuru strong.
Right.
And it's very interesting. So Rimuru is a giant cheat code. He is very OP because of Raphael, who essentially could just, if Rimuru wanted, go on autopilot and never do anything wrong, in essence. It's not going to happen, but that's...
Yeah, we'll find out at the final battle of the final series. He's going to have the ultimate unique ability of auto battle, where he just it's going to be Ultra Instinct.
So they do talk about autopilot in the anime, and that is a way for Rimuru to cheat code himself through.
Okay.
You talked about Guy. So do you remember who Guy is specifically? Like, what kind of being is Guy Crimson?
Interesting. It's been so long since I've watched season 2.
This would be season 3. This is season 3. They cover it.
They talked about Guy Crimson in season 3?
They do.
Damn, and here I am, like, bragging that I watched this or that I listened to this almost 3 extra times. I don't remember Guy Crimson. I remember him being talked about, like, once, but I don't remember details about him.
Yes. So
what am I missing?
They talk about him in the... Let's see. in episode 57, The Scheming of the 7 Days. So it is when Diablo is fighting against one of the Holy Knights.
Yeah. In my notes, I wrote Diablo confronts the king and the white-haired kid.
Yep.
I like that. I like that word, white-haired kid.
Yeah.
And then the 7 Days clergy shows up. Ranga takes down an army and plays with the leader. Laughy face.
Yeah, because that is very funny. He's like, Ranga is essentially playing with the leader of this group.
Yeah, right. He's supposed to be super fucking powerful, and Ranga's sitting here playing with him like a ball.
Like he's just some toy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was funny. I fucking love Ranga.
Yeah, Ranga's a good one. But they do talk about it on that episode, and it has, maybe if I say it this way, Guy and Diablo are the same type of being.
Oh, now that you say it that way, that does sound oddly familiar.
Do you remember what type of being Diablo is?
I forget the specific word.
It starts with a P.
I want to say paranormal. Obviously not.
That's very close.
Okay, what is it again?
Primordial.
Primordial. Okay, there it is.
So Primordial is essentially one of the original demons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely want to learn more about these.
So they talk about how Noir and Crimson were on par with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We already know who Noir is because that is Diablo. Crimson should be pretty self-explanatory because it's in the other part of his name. It's Guy.
Guy, yeah.
And, or Guy. I think they make a joke about how it's Guy or Guy because G-Y. I think they make a joke about it in season 2.
Yeah, I remember this being very confusing.
Yeah, I think Rimuru makes a joke about it, actually. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Guy Crimson. So Guy was a primordial who ends up turning into a demon lord. The only difference is Diablo took a master versus wanting to just be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about primordials is essentially they kept fighting until they turned into these ultimate demons, and they are the strongest class of demons.
Daemons.
Yes. And
there is a fine difference, but I would prefer you to know the difference. Something along those lines that Diablo said.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But essentially, he is the strongest class of it. And so we know of those two. There are more that we will find out about in the future. So I am very curious how strong Diablo is. And if Diablo talks about being afraid of Rimuru, and it's the only time in his existence that he has been afraid of anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time that when essentially Rimuru summoned him.
Yeah, this all sounds familiar.
I really would love for Guy Crimson and Rimuru to get into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if that'll happen. If that makes sense. I feel like that's not going to happen. That Guy just kind of likes scheming, and that's as far as it goes. Like, he doesn't actually care to fight. He just is an immortal being,
mm-hmm.
and he's bored.
Right. I would not put it past them to do that because of the way that they did this entire tournament at the end of the season.
Yep.
Where the entire tournament could have been something beautiful, but
yep.
It was essentially just a big fucking joke. So it wouldn't surprise me to...
Oh, come on. There was importance there.
Very minimal importance. But the way that they handled this little tournament with the theme of this series about kind of being happy-go-lucky, being kind of just fun and for things aren't that serious in this kind of a show.
Kind of.
So I wouldn't... Okay, yeah. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if... I know I said earlier and hypothetically Rimuru fighting Guy.
Until Valdora dies.
Valdora dies. I really love that idea.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would love to see that being animated and everything. But at the same time, I wouldn't have that true expectation to come out of this.
No, I don't see that happening either. Also, there's an existence of beings that they've talked about that's even stronger that essentially everybody seems to be afraid of. And that's angels.
The angels, yeah.
I feel like what's going to end up happening is Rimuru is going to do everything he needs to do. He's going to be the ruler of the world, and that's when the angels are going to fall upon the world.
Yep, I feel like that's definitely going to be the climax of the entire series.
Yep.
And then obviously some kind of truce of some sorts is made. I don't see Rimuru killing angels. I see Rimuru coming to terms and just having like...
Well, he's killed when he's needed to.
Right.
So I'm curious, what is the catalyst that causes him to actually fight angels? I'm curious if they kill Hinata and that's what happens.
Oh, for the reason for him like wanting to fight?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be very interesting. Maybe the kids will die. Maybe all of his students will be some form of sacrifice. Like, you are progressing way too far in technology, so I shall take something from you, and I'm going to take all the kids away from you. Or the kid... I mean, we could talk about the kids in multiple directions, because we can see the kids losing control of their powers.
Yep.
Maybe the angels are shitheads, and they
kill
the kids.
Yes.
Yeah. But, like, there'll be some form of, punishment.
Okay.
And, I don't know, just playing around at this point.
Yeah, because Rimuru talks about building a magic train. Magic train. It's a train with magic.
Okay, yeah. So fast travel in addition to telecommunications.
Yes, but that's only for himself. Well, his nation.
Well, he was talking about the spider web deal.
Yeah, but that's only going to be for them. He's not going to use that for other people. He's talking about wanting it, but it's going to be one of those like, this can't happen until I'm the ruler of everybody kind of thing, because it's too beneficial for himself.
Oh, I was going to say, because he brought this up when he was drunk, and then Sage broke that seal and made him sober all over again because he was sharing all this information. Yeah,
Hinata was like, you're spilling nation secrets.
Yeah.
Great Sage comes in. No more. You're sober. Oh, poor Rimuru. Yes. So the spider web string communication thing, because of the importance of it, I have a feeling he's not going to use it until he is the ruler of everything, just to kind of play into more of he becomes the ruler of the world.
Yeah.
Because, communication, when it comes to global war, communication is essentially number one. Transportation, communication, and some sort of way of seeing or knowing what your enemy is doing. Those are going to be your three main things. You could be weaker than your opponent, but if you have an upper hand on them when it comes to those three things, you can win pretty much every single war. Mm-hmm. So he will not use the communication string, however you want to call it, until it no longer has an effect against him.
Sure.
But the magic train is just good for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if he's trying to make, let's just be real about it, money.
Yeah. He's trying to incentivize the fact that his nation, so it's the Jura Tempest Federation, they are good people. So by having this train that people can use and profit from, he has incentivized people being willing to trust and believe in his nation. Mm-hmm. The other really cool piece of information is the labyrinth that they talk about. That's going to be super important, just because if it becomes successful like Rimuru wants, you're almost essentially putting adventurers out of business in the normal sense because of what he's trying to do.
Right. Yeah, because they were making his entire land safe because of the road, and they can expand beyond the road itself if they really wanted to. Yeah,
they could easily, as long as they have enough people, easily defend the entire forest from people, which now puts adventurers out of work. Well, they need somewhere to go. They need somewhere to make money. You could potentially make a lot of money in the labyrinth just because of those weapons and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which, according to Rimuru, nothing's super good, but everything's probably 10 times more worthwhile than he thinks they are.
That's very true. Because his swordsmith has this unlocked new ability that makes him amazing.
Yep.
And Rimuru already thinks of himself as not that great, but we all know. So yeah, all these weapons are amazing. They all have their own quirks to them that aren't as amazing, but obviously you're going to sacrifice some form of health for more power in most cases. But back to what you were saying about adventurers getting out of business.
Yep.
I can see the labyrinth being more of a game show kind of thing, who can make it through what level the fastest, or who can make it the furthest in X amount of time. Kind of the same deal, but playing more along the lines of some kind of top score, top record of whatever you want categorized in the labyrinth.
Yes.
Some kind of game show. That's what money can be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. That'd be very cool because it would make use of the technology that Rimuru displayed, that the elf, or not the elf, the dwarf king got super pissed off about.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. The Dwarf King, Dwargon or whatever.
Dwargon, yep.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool that like kind of what we see today during like big ass football games is we have like a 1 trillion foot TV that we can watch on top of the stadium while we watch below us ants play football, and you can see it. Whatever. It was really cool that they showed screens. That's essentially what it really comes down to.
Yeah, and it's using technology from our world, in this case, Rimuru's world, in his world that most people wouldn't think about, which kind of reminds me of like Dr. Stone, where it's like, oh yeah, this is basic stuff. But in a stone world, it's anything but basic.
Right.
And it's a similar concept. One thing that I liked, which I thought was kind of funny, is you just got to see like the pervy side of Rimuru again. So we got to see that in season 1 where he was going to like the bar with the elves, or with the, was it the dryads? No, was it elves? So in season 1 at Dwargon's kingdom, he went to that like bar that had the female, not patrons, but the like bartenders that were serving alcohol when Rimuru was in his slime form with the goblins and the dwarves. And Rimuru got in trouble with Shuna and Shion.
This does sound a little familiar, but man, it's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while. But it basically, we got kind of pervy Rimuru, which I thought was funny.
Well, yeah, pervy Rimuru, every time like boobs are resting on top of his slime body, like he was all about it. Yeah,
absolutely. And then we kind of get that again, but we're finding more things that we know pique Rimuru's interest, because of course he's a Japanese person, so he's going to find the Japanese woman to be super attractive. In this case, it was Hinata. Yeah. And it was like, I'm not staring at your boobs. What do you mean I'm staring at my boobs? Or I thought you couldn't see my boobs. It was one of those lines when she had a giant hole in her chest.
Yep. Yeah. After she got blasted by the Seventh-day Clergy.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I don't know what the manga showed, but like her side boob was definitely there.
It was a lot of under boob in the manga.
Under boob, yeah, more specifically.
And then the kimonos that he was having them wear and just showing off cleavage in that one. It was just really funny to, I want to say there was a bath scene, and this might have been a manga thing, but basically Rimuru was going to go with all the women to go to the bath in slime form, and Hinata's like, what do you need to come to the women's side? You can go to the men's side. And he's like, well, I always go to the women's side because they always want me to be there. And she's like, nope, not having it. And of course, Rimuru is just trying to peek on all the women.
Oh yeah.
But he's got nothing, so it's all for visual aids, I guess.
At that point, yeah. It's also kind of funny when they were all gathered together as guys trying to figure out how Soe just gets all the ladies, and how Benimaru is now getting all the ladies. Yep. And they're just talking about just how to attract women. It was just
they are not trying to attract women.
Yeah, Gabimaru has like zero game.
Yeah, and it's you got Benimaru who's is it the tiger beast folk who is all about Benimaru.
Tiger beast?
I want to say
like the wolf spirits.
No, the one who tried fighting the wolf spirit.
The snake girl?
Oh, is she
the beastling or whatever?
The beastketeer. Yeah, she's a snake. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing a blank on what her actual name is, though.
Oh, yeah, I didn't put her in my notes, but I remember that moment.
Yeah, then, you've got her, and then you've got the other super important piece of information that we'll talk about in just a second. So her name starts with an M.
Doesn't help that this Tensura fandom.com page has 458 fucking characters.
Is it Momoji? Yeah. Momiji. Momoji. That's the fox. Is it a fox? It's Hakuru's daughter. We'll put it that way.
Oh, she's not a Beastketeer.
No, she's not a Beastketeer, but she's the other one that fought over Reamer or Albus. That she fought with Albus.
The Tengu village.
Yes, which is an important village because that's where they are trying to build part of the magic train through.
Mm-hmm.
The other super important piece is Mamaji is the daughter of Hakaru.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was going on a different branch.
Yep.
Than what you were thinking.
And that was a super oh shit moment. You're like, wait, what? He has a child?
Just kind of brings like some random importance of Hakaru back into the main story.
Absolutely. And now we've got a love interest, and you have the love fights or love war or whatever.
Oh yeah, they gave it some weird ass title, but
yeah,
whatever.
And because of Mamaji and Albus, you've got that. So that was really funny. There was a lot of comedy in this entire series. Do you think that Mamaji is going to win over Benimaru? Do you think she's going to win the wife?
At this point, because of recency bias and because I can't really think of someone who might.
Albus it's between those two.
Yeah. I do want to lean that way because it just kind of seems like there's more benefit for that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to go with that one.
That's fair. That makes complete sense. Like you said, it makes the most sense.
Diplomatically,
even though she loves, or I don't know if she loves him, but she will love him.
Well, she's definitely interested.
She's infatuated at the very minimum.
Yeah.
And in the future, I think there will be some love shared between the two of them. Of course, then that will make Hakaru the father of Benimaru. So that's that'd
be funny. I mean, I'm sure at this rate, Hakaru already sees him as his own child,
did not treat him the same way as he was treating Momoji. That was a whole funny concept.
Oh, definitely.
I did find it super funny when Momoji's mother wrote the letter to Hakaru /Rimuru.
Yep.
And everything was read out loud.
Yeah, very awkward. Like, especially when we watched this the first time, it was like, what the hell are you talking about? But then everything made sense when you realized that it was being read to the wrong person.
Correct.
Yeah, so that was funny.
I really have nothing else to say about that whole situation. So I think now is probably a good time to take a break.
Hey everyone, Lance here trying to promote our new podcast, D&D Noobs, that we have started, and we would really appreciate it if you guys would go and give us a listen anywhere you find podcasts, where Matt and a couple other friends of ours join in on my shenanigans, and we play through a post-apocalyptic world where we fight some bad priests and try to save the world. So I hope we can see you guys there. Again, that's D&D Noobs, that's Noobz. And now we'll get back to our program. And welcome back from our break. One topic that I make sure I don't want to miss out on is this quick little tournament that they had at the end.
Which had significance. Come on. It was super, super, super important.
Yeah, we had to make sure Gapta got his place on the Elite Four.
Essentially.
Taking the...
It's not quite that one, but I don't remember what it's called. That's a better name for it.
Basically that, yeah.
The Four Generals, I think is... fuck if I know. Yeah.
It was... Everybody loves a good tournament.
Especially Lantz.
Especially me, yeah. And it had such good hype. So much good hype. Gapta and the Wolf... Ranga, shit. Their little fusion technique going on there, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That's the biggest takeaway that I can take from this entire tournament.
And then they made a joke about it.
Oh, it was a complete joke. It was...
They made a joke, but it was kind of funny and real. Like, it was the most realistic thing that happened in the entire tournament, because it was like, wait, so you pulled a move that you never used before and expected it to work?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, that's actually true. That's a factual statement. Why does it always work the first time they try to do these things?
Yeah, in every single other anime, it always works out to their benefit. But, like, yeah, you need to practice with these a little bit.
Yeah, you should probably know what happens when you do this.
Yeah.
So it was they made a funny out of something that nobody really thinks about, because in every other anime it just works in their favor, but not in this one. And then Masayuki was like, actually, I lost. Just kidding. What you saw didn't actually happen. It's like, this is the one time what everybody saw did actually happen.
Yeah, right. In front of everybody has stories to go off on, and everybody saw this happen. You literally didn't move an inch this entire fight.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, he's just being so humble. Yes, we love you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, actually, but we find out that he's essentially a pacifist and doesn't like fighting anybody.
Right. Yeah, he's never actually had a fight because
Correct.
of his unique skill. Everything's just happened.
Works out in his favor.
Exactly.
That'd be a great, unique skill.
Yeah, just pure luck based.
Pure luck. You have was it RGN or NGR, random number generator, NGR. It's just always hundreds for you.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the tournament was essentially just Gapta's way to be recognized by everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Definitely makes me look forward to this fusion technique again in the future.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Maybe he can teach the other Goblin Riders to use it as well.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. I'd really enjoy that. The biggest significance is Gapta got a fishing pole out of this.
We didn't see this fishing pole yet.
We haven't seen it yet, but he did win the fishing pole, supposedly.
And that's all he wanted.
And a sword. I think sword, knife thing. I think that was what Rimuru said. If he won the whole tournament, he would get it.
No, if he won, it would be the fishing pole.
Oh, okay. That's correct. Yeah, that's what it was. Hey,
so basic.
That's, to some people, that is life.
Right.
So we don't judge. That's what he wanted.
But take a step back into this tournament.
Yes.
Just to go, I wrote down everything, so I would like to just go through all of the matches.
Okay. Which there were 7 total. 4, 6, 7. Yeah. So you had Gapta versus the asshole fighter person. He doesn't even deserve a name. You had Carrion versus Geld. You had Matsuyuki.
Yeah, I guess the notes I started doing were a little bit later in the game. I guess I started really paying attention. In episode 69, I wrote, oh no, this was right. Okay, it just threw me off. I wrote Horse versus Bolvix.
Yep.
But obviously, that's just the two beast guys fighting. And then Bolvix wins.
Yep.
And then we have Masayuki versus Big Bro. And then obviously Masayuki wins because Big Bro just instantly surrenders.
Yep.
And then we have Guy versus Gapta. And then that's...
We could call him Jackass too. That's another name for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, this is the same guy that ran through
that got his head chopped off. Yes.
In the labyrinth.
Yep. We thought he was better than everybody else. That one. Yep.
Yep. And then we had Geld versus Masked Lion, who was actually Carrion.
Yep.
And then Carrion ended up winning that one.
Correct.
And then
that was a super good fight. That was fun.
It was. For the first half of this little tournament, that was actually the only worthwhile fight. Actually, I take that kind of back. The Horse versus Bolvix with the whole... Actually, the only cool thing that came out of that was when the bull did the electric bull shocker thing that took the horse out.
Yep.
That was just a cool technique. So that's really all you can take from it.
Pretty brutal. I thought it was kind of cool that both of them recovered all their injuries right away. That was a pretty cool concept.
Right.
But beyond that, no. Yeah, that was... Nothing more needs to be said about it.
And then in the next round, we had Bolvix versus Masayuki. And then that's when Masayuki basically talked Bolvix into be like, hey, let's just save this fight for later.
I'll meet you on floor 50 or whatever floor is on. Yep.
And then we had Lion Mask Carrion versus Gapta, where Gapta got another cheap win because he was throwing like swords or whatever, but Carrion's mask was falling off.
Yep.
And because he couldn't fight and hold his mask on his face at the same time, he just surrendered.
Yeah, anime logic, that one. Yeah.
Complete anime logic there. And then the fight continues into episode 70, where Masayuki ends up fighting the transformed Gapta, and then Gapta just
takes himself out.
super speeds himself into the wall, and then defuses into the two pieces, and then surrenders his spot as the champion to Gapta.
Yep.
So,
and then
exciting / not exciting.
Correct. The big thing is Masayuki essentially agrees that his crew will start running the dungeon. Mm-hmm. Come to find out that Masayuki and Rimuru essentially share cultural acceptance of each other and talk about stuff about their previous lives and how Rimuru is essentially bringing that stuff into reality. A big thing is manga. They talk about bringing that back. So I'd be very curious because we know that Rimuru gave Valdora manga if he said
Thor's got a shit ton of manga. How much manga knowledge does Rimuru have?
Well, he was a virgin in his 30s, so he had plenty of free time.
Yeah, right?
And yeah, he had so much manga knowledge. If I've read 3,000 plus chapters in the past 4 years, and I have a life, I can't imagine how many chapters he would read in that same time period.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, they have manga cafes and stuff, so he probably lived in a manga cafe.
That would be pretty sweet.
He did have to have his hard drive destroyed, so.
That's right. Jesus.
Oh, man, that meme is always funny. But yeah, the biggest thing that came out of that one was Gabta being accepted by the other people within the group that he is indeed strong. Oh, and Malim is stealing Gabta to train him. That was the other piece of information, is that Gabta basically showed Malim that he is strong and has to suffer because of it.
Yeah. I mean, all the more reason to look forward to him.
Correct.
He started out in season 1 as just this little wimpy little goblin guy, and then he just continuously gets stronger and stronger and better, and obviously that I should have said that the other way around, but that's whatever. But
yes,
he's at this point he's definitely of interest. They did a good job making this little guy interesting.
Correct. And Rimuru is always like, Gabta? No, I can't. Not Gabta. Gabta's terrible, right? Actually, it's like, no, don't tell me actually. Gabta's weak. Well, it's like, and Rimuru is trying to fight everything in front of his face, and he's just like, oh, well, I guess Gabta's going to be the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was also really funny, how everybody's like, yeah, Gabta's actually doing a lot. And Reamer's like, no, he's not. There's no way this Gabta is doing anything. Because, of course, the first time we really had an introduction to him, he
was peeking on the girls.
No, it was when he got arrested going to Dorgan.
Oh, my God. Was that?
That was Gabta.
I need to rewatch season 1.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Holy shit.
I guess that's the other complaint people had, is that we waited so many years for season 3, and then we got conversations with some action, with some more conversations in between.
Yeah.
Because I think we waited 3 years for season 3.
Right. I know when our podcast started,
1 and 2 were out.
Yeah.
I think 2 was just coming out. And then 1 had been out for a little bit.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Years. We waited years.
Yeah.
To get meetings. I didn't have to wait.
To get meetings. Yeah, that's the sad part.
Yeah, I think that was people's frustrations. Hopefully we don't have to wait years for season 4.
That'd be nice. Well, at the same rate, I mean, if you think about it, they came out with Slime Diaries in between, just as a filler to get us some slime content.
And we got 2 movies? 1 movie? 1 movie.
At least 1. I remember the 1 for sure.
Yeah, we got a movie and we got Slime Diaries. So we got information. It's just
not canon to what we actually want to know.
Correct. Yep. The other thing I guess we should talk about, did you have a favorite character in this season? We did meet a lot of characters in this season.
There is such an amazing amount of characters. Like I just said a while ago, there's 450 characters on this page or something like that, or at least 450 tabs. But
yes,
I think I'm gonna pull my favorite character from my favorite scene.
Okay,
and that was Hinata versus Rimuru.
Okay,
that fight was just cool. So me for once, I'm gonna go chalk and choose Rimuru as my favorite character just because of that scene.
That's fair.
When Rimuru pulled out that darkness sword, my sword's not as
dark flame sword. Yeah. That was super cool.
My sword's not as cool as yours or whatever, and then he slides his finger across it and this dark flame blazes upon it. That moment right there was just so awesome to me. I have to go with that one. Rimuru was just way too overpowered to begin with, but that fight was definitely my favorite, and Rimuru was my favorite because of it.
Okay, that is completely understandable. He's so much fun in this one. As I said, we got some perviness out of him. We got so much character development out of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. I completely understand. As far as for me, oh man, I really want to say Shuna. I really like Shuna as a character. She's such a great character.
Mm-hmm. Especially during that same fight sequence too. She showed a lot of leadership and intense power, especially when she broke that barrier that they thought was invincible and all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's Shion.
Did you say Shuna?
Yeah, I said Shuna.
Oh my god, I'm confusing the two.
Yes.
Shuna, the pink-haired cooker.
Yes, the pink-haired princess.
Okay, sorry.
Yes. I just really like Shuna. I think she's a very interesting character. I really like how well-rounded of an individual she is because she does the like the clothing. She worked with the chef and made all the food. Is very assertive. Doesn't really give into Rimuru shit, but also wants to be his wife.
Yeah.
And then she played on the piano, which we didn't talk about that one too much, but just that one so much reminded me of Your Lie in April.
Mm-hmm.
Flashbacks to that series.
Oh, yeah.
When I was watching that. So that was really good. I just really like Shun as a character. Diablo is a strong 2, though.
100% agreed, yeah. He would be my number 2.
It's so much fun to watch everything he had. Just he was fucking with the 7 Days Clergy.
Yeah, I was just saying, the way he just dominated that entire little mini arc of going on in there. Yeah.
Yep. The holy, when he was fighting all those people and he's like, I'm not even going to fight. I'm just going to intimidate the shit out of all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to win. And that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. And when all of those little ninja guys wrapped up around him, he's like, I just want to see what you guys are going to do.
Yep. And, oh yeah, that's right. None of you can hurt me. So good luck.
Yeah. And I also like that he has resistance to natural elements. Mm-hmm. Like when they blasted that thunderbolt at him. Like that was a whole cool little scene.
Yeah. He basically just negated it because it wasn't strong enough.
Oh yeah, because he made that comment that like even against the white-haired kid,
yep,
all he had to do was like quickly break down that element, and then it's basically nullified.
Yep, and he's immune to physical attacks.
Yeah, he got stabbed, and then he just pulls out the whatever weapon that was, and he just instantly heals.
Yep, and his infatuation with Rimuru is so weird, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you know, this is the guy that lived his entire existence being stronger than everybody else. And he finally found somebody who is stronger than him. And he knows it from the moment he met him that he is nothing compared to Rimuru. Mm-hmm. And apparently he just gets off on it.
Oh, yeah, he gets off.
The claw thing was super cool. Like his clawed weapon thing was super cool. It came out of nowhere. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
I have a figure of Diablo and he has that claw.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Diablo, easily number 2, but he's an awesome character. And we do get to see more of him in season 4, so that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as we met Diablo, was that season 1 we met him? I'm pretty sure it was.
2.
It was 2?
Yeah, because we met him.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. Yeah, because we were just, I was instantly amazed by him and just his overpowering presence. And then we got some action out of him in the movie, which was very nice. Yep. Just a little bit of action, but it was still good enough.
We get a little bit of a tease every time we got to see him.
Every time we see him, yep. And then we just get a little bit more here. It's like, you're amazing.
Yep. And I love the fact that they bring up what he is, because it's such an easy way to explain his being and the other being that we know of. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that writing there. Mm-hmm. So you talked about your favorite moment was the fight between Hinata and Rimuru.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good choice.
There was just so much action going on.
Yep.
It was the fact that we knew that there was miscommunication going on to begin with, and this fight didn't need to happen. But at the same rate, we know on the outside that if it didn't happen, then Hinata's like background follower was like, well, I was told by the 7 Days Clergy that you were scheming with Rimuru. So if you're fighting him, then obviously that doesn't make sense. So that was all kind of a little bonus into why the 7 Days Clergy wasn't going to make it out of this.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good choice. Mine was definitely the musical theater part. It was just so captivating. Mm-hmm. The animation was so well done. The music was very well done. Did not expect it, like in the slightest.
No, not at all.
It also plays such a vital role in Luminous and Rimuru's partnership that I really liked it. The other one also has to do with Luminous. It's when Valdora was like, oh, hey, yeah, you're Luminous. That's right. I know who you are.
Oh, I love when they connect with each other.
And then and then everybody's like, wait, this is our god? Yeah, that's Luminous. She's a demon lord.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it was extra fun because when they first realized that their god was who this lady was,
Yep.
like that was a surprise to them alone. But then as soon as Valdora ruined everything else to the next level that she was a demon lord, like that just brought everything to a whole new level for them.
Yeah, they're like, wait, we follow a demon lord? I thought we hated demons.
Yep.
And then just her beating the shit out of Valdora, kind of. And
yeah, definitely. Another moment one of my favorite Valdora moments was when he was doing all the cooking and the grilling for the festival.
Oh, yeah.
And then he named himself Synonym Grill? Synonym? Oh my God. Synonym. Why am I saying this weird?
I don't know.
Not like cinnamon.
Yeah, it's not cinnamon like the smut.
Synonymous. Cinnamon. Synonymous?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Synonym. I'm pretty sure cinnamon's... Okay.
It's not cinnamon like the spice.
Not the spice.
Like synonymous, but it's a play on being inconspicuous, essentially. Yeah, I don't know.
I wrote it properly, but I'm pronouncing it.
Are you sure you wrote it properly?
Yeah. SYNONYM. Synonym. Synonym grill. Okay, something like that. If you watch this, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the grill where he's being inconspicuous.
Yeah.
But everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
And except for the chefs who they're like, don't say this is Valdora or nobody will work with him.
Right. I thought that was very good. What's that dude? I wrote that dude's name.
His accountant person?
Mule.
Yes.
Mule, yeah. He's I like his accent.
Yeah, it's interesting. The voice actor did a really good job on that one. I thought his character was really, really interesting because him and Rimuru have almost similar personalities.
Yeah, especially in the sense of like just profit.
Yep. And the way they got out of the predicament they were in with the other merchants, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, as like low key as that may have been on the outside, but like the way that they settled that entire problem, I thought they did a really good job. And it was interesting at the same rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these shitty merchants trying to come together, trying to ruin Rimuru from the inside, trying to make their demands, and then Rimuru getting like a little bit of the heads up and having a little bit of help and getting all the Drogdile coins. What were the Dwarven coins?
Dwarven coins, yeah.
Whatever those are called. All thanks to that high elf. That other lady elf. Correct.
If you remember, the only reason why the merchants acted the way they did was because that...
Elmesia. Lady Elmesia.
Elmesia, yes. So, because of Elmesia, they were able to... Rimuru was able to pay off the merchants, and the merchants were acting the way they were because that one noble from the east basically bribed them all into being assholes.
Right.
And so... we were able to prevent that from happening, which also shows how cunning Rimuru is. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There were so many fun moments. I will say this again. I did not think season 3 was that bad. You just had to binge watch all of season 3 to make it not that bad.
Yeah, that's very true. Like we were saying in the beginning, when we were watching this week by week in Japanese, it was a slow burn.
Correct.
Totally understand what the internet's saying. I mean, we were in the moment of it being like, we were on board. But doing the rewatch in English made it so much better.
Yep.
Binging it, getting through a handful of episodes at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
The last thing I truly want to make sure we touch point on is Yuki.
Okay, yes, very much so.
Yuki is a very interesting character because he's got his fingers in a little bit of everything. We see him playing along with Harley Quinn, those Joker, those clowns. And at the same time, he's got his hands with Hinata. And he's also very close with Rimuru.
And he's also the guild master.
So, like, he's the bad guy and the friend, but he's the friend that we don't know that Rimuru doesn't know is the bad guy.
Up until the end, yes.
Does Rimuru know at this point? that he was playing with the Harley Quinns?
So at the very end of the episode, when you see Yuki walking away, they're having the conversation, and Rimuru is like, well, that just proved that Yuki is the only person that it could have been. It could have been as in the one that set him up against Hinata, that basically did everything. It was Yuki was the reason why everything happened, essentially.
Okay, I guess I totally let that go over my head.
Yes, and Rimuru wants to believe in Yuki, and Yuki does literally everything possible to show that he shouldn't.
Right. I mean, we saw like mid-season that Rimuru assumed that Yuki was bad.
Yep.
And what was it, Hinata or someone else was like, wow, you thought that he was behind everything. But he still suspected him to be a bad guy.
Yes. Just because everything pointed to him, and Rimuru didn't really want to believe it, but it's really hard to not believe it.
Right. So we could definitely expect to see some kind of fight maybe come between them. Some kind of mini war, because obviously Yuki's got his clowns, and something's going to happen for sure.
Well, so the East has, in essence, attempted to overthrow Rimuru, so they're going to continue to try and do something, because, well, the East does not want Rimuru to succeed, so Maribel and the Ratso grandfather? Yeah.
Maybe more specifically, the granddaughter, Greed.
Yeah, Greed, which is Maribel, and I'm drawing a blank on what the grandfather's name is, but the weird relationship that they have.
Yeah.
But yes, so those are essentially the powers to be. I'm assuming, Yuki admits that he has to work with the East because they have relations together. And that is where the paper comes from that he uses to distribute various things.
The paper? I'm not remembering a conversation about paper.
Yes. So Yuki has a bunch of manga / books, and he gets the high class paper from the East. That's just the information that I know.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I remember some kind of manga talk coming out of Yuki.
Yeah. So we know that Yuki has dealings with people on in the East. I'm assuming the Ratsos are going to get called out are going to play a part in season 4. We already got a glimpse of them, so I can't imagine we don't see anything else from them in season 4. I guess, do you have any predictions for season 4?
My initial thoughts for season 4, prior to us having some side conversations before we did all this leading up to our conversation today, I am expecting to see the Angels make an appearance. Okay. Because of everything that Rimuru is talking about with advancements of technology and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I want to see them make a play. Don't expect them to see him too soon, but I would like to see season 4 end with the appearance of the Angels, and then season 5 being whoever the Angels and whoever their whole clan is going to be some big ass fight. I want it to be a fight. I don't want it to be another meeting. I want it to be
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. There will be some, but it will not be a lot.
Okay. I just want a big fuck you, no fuck you moment and a big fight. Cause that was the one thing that pulled us into Slime season 1 was all the beautiful animated action scenes. I want to see that again. We got 2 great fights out of this season. Yeah. We're here for the action. We want to see more action.
I love the entanglement of everything. That everything makes sense and everything has reasoning behind it. So that's one thing that I really like about this series, is that everything serves a purpose. Everything we have done, every single person that we've learned about, every person that we've been introduced to has a purpose, whether we know it or not.
Right.
And that is something that I really like about the series, is there is significance in everything that has been brought forward.
And with that, I want to see Yuki being taken care of first. I want to see...
Okay. Taken care of, taken out?
Maybe. But, I want to see the foot soldier and the other Harley Quinn girl. I want to see them fight again. And the other guy who has Android 17's voice fight too. But I just want to see the Jokers fight.
Okay.
We need to learn more about the Rotsos.
Yep.
Oh, I guess a little bit more information on some of the demon lords, because we got a lot of information here, but like we gotta get a little bit more back information.
Yeah, because we know nothing about Guy, really.
Mm-hmm.
We know nothing about the father and the father of the three.
Right, whatever his name is at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a couple more demon lords that we need to get a little bit more information about before we come to any kind of true conclusion.
Yeah.
And of course, a little bit more Diablo action, because we can always use more badass Diablo.
Correct. We don't know anything about Leon.
Oh yeah, Leon.
Which, that one's super important. Yeah. All of that makes sense. I am very much looking forward to season 4.
Without your current knowledge of your light novel,
Yes.
Is there anything you could share that, like, your previous expectations?
I really expected something to go on with Yuki because he's very suspicious, so I'm very curious if they track him in any manner or any sort. Just doing something more thorough about Yuki, and I guess working with Luminous because they had made such a big deal about it.
That's very true.
But other than that, I've had zero thought processes.
Right. Yeah, there's so many branches, so many people to worry about, like, which direction is this even going to go in.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, we still have Hinata's other saintly people to...
Oh, yeah, all the Holy Knights.
The Holy Knights. Like, we can get a little bit of background information on all of them, I'm sure. But those are just more characters. We don't need to dive into that anymore.
Fair.
But yeah, I think that's all I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah, I think we covered almost everything as far as season 3 is concerned. Before we get going, Lantz has been trying to, and mostly succeeding, stump me on Pokemon. So, what do we have today?
All right, so we're going to jump into Generation 1 questions. Question number 1. How many tails does Vulpix have?
I'm going to guess 3.
3?
Yeah.
All right, that one's wrong.
Damn.
Vulpix has 6 tails.
Sure. Yep. All right.
Don't really blame you for that one. It's kind of weird because obviously her name isn't 6 picks versus 9 tails.
Yes.
So that's not too obvious.
Correct.
All right, but question number 2. What typing is Marowak?
Fighting? No. Ground. Marowak? I'm going to say he's fighting.
You're with fighting?
Yeah, I'm going to go with fighting.
All right. I think you've been playing a little bit too much Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah, I have.
Marowak is a ground type.
Damn it. All right.
Yeah. On the Pokemon card, he's a fighting type, but in actuality, he's a ground. All right.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right. Final question. What level does Abra evolve at?
12.
Go with 12.
Yep.
All right. It's also wrong. Abra evolves at 16.
Shucks. I was terrible. I did not take any time on those. I had zero confidence in any of those.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Nothing.
They were not difficult questions, but I did not do well.
I think you might need to replay one of the Pokemon games.
Yeah. Well, I graduate in a couple weeks, so maybe I'll get one and start playing it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, whatever you end up playing is where I'll pull some future questions out of.
Well, that means I really got to pay attention to what I'm doing. So that's not good.
Yeah, I remember the first time I actually gave a shit about the Abra evolution when I was playing like Pokemon Silver back in the day.
Yep.
And I got my Kadabra, and then I went to Goldenrod City, and that's where you can buy all of the TMs for all the elemental punches.
Yep.
And I taught my Kadabra Ice, Fire, and Thunder Punch. So I made him elementally almost perfect, and then on top of that with Confusion. So like he was
yeah, that's a good.
He was universally really useful.
Yeah, that's a good moveset.
Mm-hmm. So I was really proud of.
With no Alakazam.
No, yeah, because
you got to trade for those.
Yeah, I did have a friend back then that I could have traded, and I don't remember actually trading him or not. I might have. I don't know. That was fucking middle school back then, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think we played too much Pokemon. Yeah, because I didn't have a DS, so no, we wouldn't have played Pokemon.
Oh, no, that's still Game Boy.
Yeah, those were, but I remember you playing like was it Black and White or Black or X and Y, one of those on the DS. I think it might have been Black.
Diamond and Pearl came out when we were in high school.
Yeah, like freshman year of high school, something like that. So it's probably Diamond and Pearl then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you playing that, but I didn't have a DS, so I think you were just playing it.
Might have been.
Because I think you had a 3DS at the time.
Yeah, I bought that pretty sure I bought that from Chris, because he had an extra one, and I bought it from him.
Yeah, there you go. I remember that, but I stopped playing after Gold.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll keep that in mind. That I'm not going to ask you any Gen 3 questions for a while.
You can ask Gen 3 questions. I don't mind getting them wrong.
All right. Well, at least at the time, you don't mind getting them wrong. If I'm going to ask Gen 3, I want to make sure that Tyler's here for that, because he loves Gen 3.
All right, perfect. Apparently Pokemon Training Card Pocket has done me no service as far as getting these correct.
That's all right.
But thank you. These are fun. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, so hopefully our listeners are doing better than Matt is. But that is going to conclude today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening this far. Please make sure to like and subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to us on. Also, please make sure to follow our new podcast, D&D Noobs. And if you would like to stay up to date on anime news, please follow the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, we'll see you guys.